Hi there, I'm Gabrielle Nicolay from SpeechKids. I am a speech language pathologist, speech therapist with almost 20 years of experience helping little kids learn how to talk and helping their parents learn to listen. And I wanted to talk more about toddler tantrums, and not just toddler tantrums, but any tantrums that are happening. And this time we're going to talk about what to do when those tantrums, and in an earlier video I compared tantrums to a traffic jam, and heard back from some of you that sometimes your child's tantrums are more like car wrecks, 15 car pile-ups on the highway, which is scary. And so let's talk about what to do when your child's tantrums are scary. And so, you know, I've done 2 previous videos on this, so if you haven't seen those, take a look at those. Most childhood tantrums are more like traffic jams than car crashes. They're annoying, they're sometimes unavoidable, but people usually don't get hurt, okay? But if your child's tantrums really do resemble more of a car crash, in other words, people are getting hurt, they're taking a really long time, you're sort of scared by the intensity, then we're going to talk about what to do and how to handle that. So I gave you some strategies in the last video, and so those strategies apply when we're first starting to try to remedy a tantrum, obviously. So you're going to breathe. You're going to try to stay calm. Those are the 2 major things that you can do in the moment once the tantrum has occurred, right? Because we remember there's no talking in a crisis. Your child is not available for all of those wonderful reasons why they don't need to be upset about the thing that they're upset about. And so if a tantrum is happening, the only thing you can do is to ride it out. And that's true for scary ones too. So when your child is having a tantrum, it means they are completely out of control. And your best solution is to stay in control. And not just in control, like in control this way. And you see my shoulders going up, right? In control. That calm will sometimes rub off. That calm will eventually rub off. Okay, but let's talk about that they're scary, okay? The first thing you're going to need to do in a scary temper tantrum is make sure that everyone is safe. And by everyone, I mean not only your child, but you. You have to keep yourself safe. The less you can allow yourself to be bitten, hit, thrown things at, the better. So you're just going to attempt at all costs to avoid that happening. Okay, easier said than done. I get it. So what does that mean, like on a practical level? It means that if you see things in the environment that your child might throw, you're going to try to remove them. If it's not possible because the room is strewn with lots of stuff, then you're going to try to remove your child from the environment. Now, if they're little, that's easier. If they're a little bit bigger, that's going to be harder. Sometimes you can sort of cordon off the room so they don't have access to things that are throwable. Sometimes that means that you're going to be in biting distance. And so, you know, I for those of you who have children who have scary temper tantrums, I get that biting is it's a real consequence and it's a painful one. So you will have to manage the physical environment and to keep everybody safe. Okay, that might mean that you're not close to your child, but that you are some distance away, making sure that they're not hurting themselves. If something is not breakable, you know, not fragile, you may just have to let them throw it and not say anything about it in the moment. Remember, in the tantrum, your child is not available. So no amount of talking or telling we don't throw or we don't do this and we don't do that, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So save all that stuff for later. definitely save it for later. But when you're in the moment, you're just keeping people safe. Okay. You're also going to want to, while you're sort of keeping them safe, allow them that space for their big feelings. So I was actually at somebody's house recently where kiddo was having a big reaction to something and a fairly large temper tantrum. This one didn't rise to the level of scary, but it was intense. And he was hitting his parents. He was lashing out. He was elbowing, partially in response to the parent coming toward this child to try to calm him down. But the child wasn't ready. He needed that space. And once we sort of let him go off in his own, he went upstairs actually to his own room and come back slowly in his own time as he was calming down. That was a much quicker and much better resolution to a really intense period of emotion for this little person. Okay, there may be times when you need to literally hold on to your child in order to keep them safe. It should be a measure of last resort, and you should get training. If you need to hold on to your child, you will need to get some training in like how to safely hold on to a child who is a danger to himself or others. Okay, so that's going to be something that you're going to seek help with, and I'm going to tell you where to get it and from whom in this next part of the video. So you're going to start with your pediatrician, right? Anytime there's something going on with your little one, you're going to straight away, that's why they're there. So you're going to ask your pediatrician. But if your pediatrician says, it's normal, don't worry about it, they'll grow out of it, and your intuition, your gut, your parenting instinct is telling you that that's not the case, then you're going to want to call some of these other people that I'm about to mention. Because you know what's going on. You know if it's a problem. And so honor that feeling and do that for your child. So call one of these people. A developmental pediatrician. How is that different from your regular pediatrician? That is different from your regular pediatrician in that a developmental pediatrician has pediatric medical training, but also developmental training, meaning they are trained in the development of child development of social emotional, physical, speech and language to some degree. Okay, so they've got sort of a bird's eye view of typical child development and the things that can go wrong in child development. And so they can pick out areas where your child may have needs and then prescribe or recommend treatment in those areas. So they can connect you to the next level of professional. They are mostly diagnostic, developmental pediatricians. You can find them at hospitals. Some of them are in private practice. Insurance can be a little sketchy for that if you don't go to a hospital center. But a developmental pediatrician is an okay place to start. The other person you can call, is a child psychiatrist. A child psychiatrist is a medical doctor, right? So they can prescribe medications if necessary. And they specialize in diagnosing and treating children with behavioral and thought disorders. So that may or may not be, not every child psychologist is the right person to see for a very young child who's having intense tantrums, but there are psychiatrists who specialize in dealing with toddlers and very young children who are having developmental and behavioral kinds of issues. And again, they can diagnose, some of them can treat, some of them will propose other people to send you to. A child psychologist is another person who can help you in the same way or in the similar way, other than they can't prescribe medication, right? Psychologists often work with psychiatrists if there's a medical component that's needed. I'm not saying anything about, I'm not going to recommend, obviously I'm not recommending medication. Sometimes parents and doctors decide that that's the best course. That's all I'll say about that. The last person I'm going to suggest that you talk to is a behavior specialist. Now, this person might be a psychologist, they might be a psychiatrist, they might be a developmental pediatrician, but they also might be a BCBA, which is a certified behavior specialist. And so usually BCBAs work more with kids on the autism spectrum, but not necessarily. BCBAs are have specialty training in behavior. And so they're really trained to recognize what happened right before something happened, what happened, what was the behavior that happened, and then what happened as a result of the behavior. And so they're good at breaking down these chains of behaviors that we as parents engage in sort of automatically, which may or may not be helping our child. And so they're good at sort of breaking those apart and putting them back together in more constructive ways so that you can be doing something different when your child is about to trigger a tantrum, and you can help your child do something different in that moment. So a behavior specialist might be the person that you can reach out to. Here's the thing. This seems really, really scary. And sometimes I feel like, reaching out for help can make something that's wrong feel more real. And if you sort of step away from that for a second, you'll obviously see that that's not true. It's already there. If you're asking yourself the question, if you're worried, it's because you have a sense that something's going on. And won't you trust yourself enough to give that to your child? Won't you trust yourself enough to let your child know that you are willing to go to bat for them and help yourself get through these difficult experiences that don't feel good, that take too long, that are really intense, where sometimes people get hurt? So I really want to encourage you to think about this. If your child is having big, scary tantrums that last more than 25 minutes, if these tantrums are occurring regularly and they're scary for you, and they're scary for your child probably too, consider reaching out. SpeechKids, which is my private practice, we help parents and children through these difficult kinds of situations. And tantrums do often relate to communication frustration. So we are here. You can contact us. You can give us a call. But reach out if you are having big, scary tantrums at home. Talk to you next time. Take care.